Ask yourself, what's the most incredible guitar that you have ever played? Hey friends and fellow guitar nerds, it's Jay here with another awesome video for you today. Today I want to talk to you about a guitar that has completely and utterly bewitched me. It's this one, the PRS Custom 24. As a guitarist with a collection of over 40 guitars which I have collected over the last 30 years of playing, and the owner of a guitar company, Spirit Dance Guitars, I've played and built hundreds of different instruments, but there's none quite like this one. Well, maybe just one. Spirit Dance Guitars are pretty up there with the PRS guitars as well, but I'm kind of biased in that way. Throughout my years as a guitarist, I've owned and played countless guitars, always searching for that perfect instrument that actually feels like an extension of just my hands, so that I can do as much as possible and it's easy to play. So last year I celebrated hitting the half-century mark. Yay, happy birthday to me, right? Still. And I decided to treat myself to a really special guitar. And that's when I really discovered the PRS Custom 24. And I've been interested in these guitars for some years, but I'd never taken that final step to actually buy one. And then when the time came last year, the moment I laid my hands on this Custom 24, I knew there was something really magical about the instrument. Now, one of my best friends, Dan Lovett-Horn, shout out to Dan today, and I had been talking about PRS guitars for quite a long time, for some years, because friends of his had owned PRS guitars and they'd used them on records, played them, and he'd always used a very specific phrase about them. He fed back to me that they were supposed to be very precise instruments, and that really intrigued me, and I wanted to find out what it was about the PRS guitars that felt so precise. And you know, having had one for a while now, actually having two for a while now and playing them, I totally understand what he was talking about. It's not just the playability, but it's how it makes me play as well. Now, this beautiful guitar was my 50th birthday gift, not just to myself, but also a gift from my wife and my loved ones as well. And you know, for my 50th, I wanted to get something which I would pick up every day and I would just absolutely adore. And this 2003 model guitar, which is just stunning in this turquoise color, really did the trick. It arrived just in time for my birthday. I got it a few days before I actually turned 50, and I was lucky enough to find this beauty being sold by a guitar dealer that I've known for some years, and he lives like 20-minute drive away from my house. So I dropped him an email and I arranged to go around and have a look at it. I was pretty sure I was going to buy it anyways, even before I left my house, to be perfectly honest. You know, I wanted this guitar because the spec just looked really awesome. As soon as the guitar dealer opened the case, I just fell in love with this guitar. The way it looked, you know, it's just shiny, it's just beautiful, it is incredible, it is carved so well. It's just a piece of artwork with the bird inlays and everything. It just looked so awesome. And then I picked it up and played it a little bit. And you know, playing the PRS was like having my brain rewired, literally. The build quality, playability, the tones, the versatility, everything just completely and utterly unmatched. Like I said, I have a lot of guitars. I still own a lot of guitars, and this completely and utterly kind of just, yeah, completely rewired up there. It was as if the guitar really understood me and I understood it. There was a connection, and that was instant for me. And I knew that I'd found something really special which I was gonna play all of the time. When I play this guitar, it feels completely effortless, and it has since I first got it. It feels like an extension of me, and it makes me actually play better. Makes me play more precisely, to be honest. And I now understand why it was described as precise by Dan. It translates every nuance of my playing into something really beautiful. And I just love being on the fretboard on this guitar. It flows, it breathes, everything about it just works for me. And you know, when I make mistakes, it kind of just barks it out at me, literally. If it's even slightly out of tune, it lets me know. So I have to keep this in precise tune so that everything sounds good. Otherwise, you know, I sound sucky on this guitar. But that makes me a better guitar player, and I absolutely adore that about this guitar. A few months later, I found myself craving another PRS Custom 24. I knew it was going to happen. You can't just have one, right? Not a guitar this good. And after some months of searching and missing out on a couple that I really liked, in March of this year, I finally got my hands on this, a 2020 model, which is in this gorgeous faded blue whale color. And as far as I know, this is a pretty rare color now. I saw it listed and just fell for the spec, and the look of it, the color of it was just like, yeah, that's the one. That's the one I want. And I'm so glad that I bought this one, as it was in perfect condition, and it still is. And it came with all the tags, receipts, booklets, everything in the case. And it plays like an absolute dream, and it sounds spectacular. And now with two PRS Custom 24s in my collection, I can confidently say that these are the very, very best guitars that I have ever owned. Now, I know that this is completely and utterly subjective, and this is just my opinion. There are going to be people who say, no, PRS aren't the best guitars, I like something else. That's totally cool. I'm just sharing my experience of what the best guitars that I have owned has been, and it's these guitars. You know, and despite being from different years, both of my PRS Custom 24s have that signature PRS quality that just sets them apart from the rest for me. Well, that is besides the Spirit Dance guitars as well. They are right up there in terms of build quality and the feel as well, especially the necks. And I'm going to be building myself a very, very special Spirit Dance guitar later this year, because, you know, although I have my prototypes, I don't have a full fat Spirit Dance guitar, which I have built myself. It's time. But right now, let's get back to the PRS Custom 24. So, what makes the PRS Custom 24 so special? For me, it's the perfect combination of craftsmanship, incredible attention to detail, and the innovation as well. The neck is incredibly comfortable. The profile is just perfect for my hands, and the roll on the edge of the neck, wow, it's just stunning. The fretboard, you cannot feel where it starts and where the neck starts. Basically, it's blended so beautifully well. I think that's one of the huge plus points about this series of guitar, the USA made PRS Custom 24s. And in my hands, it just feels absolutely stunning. This has been a departure for me as well, because these have 24 fret necks, and I usually opt for a 22 fret neck. But I now actually prefer the 24 fret necks because I've been playing these just constantly over pretty much every single guitar that I have in the studio. The others get some love, but you know what? These get a lot more love. The fretwork is also immaculate, and the way the frets are finished on the edges and also the tops, it's just absolutely perfection for me. Feels so good. The strings just glide over them. You can't feel the fret edges at all. It just feels like basically the fretboard blends into the neck, and the frets, they're somewhere. Yep, they're somewhere. They're there, but you cannot feel the edges at all. My hands also love the fact that this is a 25-inch neck scale, which is right in between the Fender and the Gibson scale. So slightly shorter scale length than I usually play on the Fender-esque kind of Strat style guitars, which I usually play with a 25.5-inch neck scale. And maybe that slightly shorter scale just works for my hands. I don't know, but it just feels really, really good. The electronics on these guitars is also super versatile. The combination of the 5-way switch, I have a blade switch on this one and a rotary switch on my turquoise one, and also the kind of treble bleed capacitors that they put on the volume pot make this really, really, really versatile, and it allows me to dial in so many different tones. Initially, when I got this guitar and I plugged it in, I was kind of like, I really like the split coil tones and the kind of single coily type of tones on my turquoise guitar, and I did consider rewiring this in the same way as that one, but with the blade switch, and it can be done. There are wiring diagrams out there. But then I was playing it and I rolled down the volume, and it was like the voicing of the pickup just completely just transmuted into something else. You know, it went from this really big, fat humbucker sound to almost a single coil type of sound. And it was pretty awesome. And that's when it was like, you know what? I'm just gonna leave everything just as it is. Both of these guitars do everything superbly, from glassy split coil clean tones to really heavy overdriven searing lead tones, which I use for my solos. PRS's special wiring makes this just insanely versatile, and you can look up the wiring diagrams and what all the positions do online, because I can't remember them all. They just sound good, and I use them on the track, which you will hear at the end. The pickups on my 2003 model are the HFS and the vintage bass, which are ceramic magnet pickups. Now, I usually don't go for ceramic magnet pickups because I actually like the response of Alnico magnet pickups, usually the Alnico 2 or the Alnico 5. The ceramics can be a little bit harsh, but you know, when I played that guitar for the first time and I plugged it into my gear, it was just spectacular. I didn't even know they were ceramic pickups for the longest time, and one of my students who has PRS guitars, he actually said to me, "Oh, they're the ceramic pickups, right? Do you like them?" And I was like, "They're ceramic?" It caught me by surprise, total surprise, but I completely love the sound of them. My 2020 model has the 8515 pickups on them, which are also really beautiful. They have an Alnico 5 magnet in them, and they are actually darker sounding than the HFS and the vintage bass pickups. And I like that because between the guitars, there is so much tonal variation, and when I use them on a track, you know, on the left hand side when I used the turquoise guitar for the rhythm guitars, it was slightly sharper, slightly brighter, and then when I used this one on the right hand side for the rhythm guitars, slightly warmer, slightly fuller. So it worked really, really beautifully well. I recorded both of these guitars through my PRS MT15 amp. Had to do it, right? Had to be a PRS guitar into a PRS amp. And that amp is a little beast of an amp. It does cleans super well, as you'll hear on the track, but it does overdrive just superbly well. It is a really great overdrive sound. And both of the guitars through the amp just totally made me smile. Now the body shape and the carve are just super cool. It's done so well. It's a work of art, and it makes the guitar body really comfortable. All the contours in the front and the back are just really well thought out, and they just work. They feel really great, and there is so much access to the upper frets. When I go to the 24th fret, there's nothing actually hitting my hand here or stopping me from getting up there, even with, you know, my second finger here, or even my first finger. All my other fingers just, yeah, there's space for them, which is incredible. And the way the body feels just really suits me. And then there's the look of the guitars. They are spectacular, aren't they? The finish is just stunning. Both of my ones have flamed maple tops. My turquoise one is actually a 10 top. Now this 2020 isn't a 10 top guitar, and the only reason I think it's not a 10 top is because the grain is a little bit close here and not as smooth as the other grain on the rest of the guitar. But this is so close to a 10 top that, you know, it's like it's splitting hairs between the two. And the color is just mesmerizing. Both of these guitars, I picked them because I loved the color. Maybe in the future when I get another one, I'll pick another color, but in the meantime, these both really scratch that itch. Now I feel that every aspect of these guitars is designed to enhance the playing experience, and I feel it every time I pick up and play both of these guitars. Even when I'm teaching, I tend to pull these guitars out of the cases and then, use them for my guitar lessons as well, because I just love being on the fretboard on both of these guitars. And when you see me play the track in a moment, you'll see a smile on my face as I get completely lost in the playing experience of both of these guitars. And it reminds me of that line in that Star Wars movie Rogue One, where one of the characters says, "I am one with the Force and the Force is one with me." Well, with this guitar, I am one with this guitar and the guitar is one with me. The quality of the hardware on these guitars is just insanely good. The pots, they have no resistance when you use them. They feel so smooth. And the switch, it's like that scene from Good, Bad and the Ugly where he's going click, click, click with the gun that he's just built, right? That click, clack. Oh my goodness, that's so satisfying. It's incredible. You know when you use the controls that they are very high-end controls. This is a 5-point bridge. I usually go for a 2-point bridge. You know what? I have not missed it because this floats like a butterfly, to quote Muhammad Ali. And it is so beautifully smooth to operate. It goes down just fine. Stays in tune incredibly well as well. There's a lot of sustain from the bridge. I really like this bridge. Never thought I'd say it, that a 5-point bridge would do it for me, because I usually, like I said, go for a 2-point bridge, and that's my thing, or has been my thing until I started playing these. This also stays in tune fantastically well, like I said. Locking tuners are exquisite. These two are from different eras, so I think the ones on my 2003 are the Gen 2 tuners. These are the Gen 3 tuners, so they're a little bit different in just how they look. They operate pretty much the same. Love the top locks on these. So convenient for changing strings. I usually use backlock tuners on some of my guitars, and they're great to use, but you have to kind of reach behind and stuff. Here you just basically unlock it from the top, feed the string in, lock it in place, and rock and roll. You are ready to go. The nut is very high-end as well, just no sticking or anything like that. Everything has been thought out really well, and all of the hardware just gorgeous, really nicely finished as well. There is just one minor difference between this guitar and my turquoise guitar, which is the neck. On my turquoise guitar, it is a pattern thin neck, or a wide thin as it was in 2003, and on this guitar it is a pattern regular neck. Now the difference is literally 1/64 of an inch at the first fret and 2/64 of an inch, or 1/32 of an inch at the 12th fret. And you know what, I was kind of umming and ahhing about whether to go for a pattern regular neck because I really love the pattern thin, but then I checked the spec and it was like, you know what, my hand is not going to detect that small of a gap. And there's a tiny bit of difference, but nothing to actually kind of make me like that neck better than this. I love both of these necks just as much as each other. Now my only regret is that I want more of these. And you know what, they are expensive guitars, but I think they are so worth it. And on the used market, you can actually get them for pretty good prices, and both of these I actually bought pre-owned, so check those out. And I have tried the SE series of PRS guitars, and while they're fantastic guitars for the price, to me personally, they don't feel like the top shelf core series guitars. There's differences in them. I know a lot of you guys are going to get onto the comments and say, hey, lots of people say that the SE series is absolutely amazing and the core series isn't worth 4 times the price and stuff. To me personally, I would rather have one core series than 4 SE series. That's just me personally. So don't flame me for that. It's just a personal opinion. I really wanted to like the SE series because they look fantastic, but the necks feel materially different to me in my hands. They feel fatter. The roll on the edge of the necks is nowhere near as nice as on the core series. And there are just differences in the guitars. So, like I said, for me, one of these, yeah, is just fine. And like I said, on the used market, you can get them for pretty reasonable prices for how much guitar you get for the money that you pay. As I mentioned, these guitars do cost a pretty penny, but having owned them for a while, I can wholeheartedly say they are worth it. To me anyways. Will I buy more PRS guitars? Undoubtedly. I like them that much. I really do. These just suit me. They feel so natural. Just hung around my neck like this, playing them, recording with them. Everything just feels really awesome with the Custom 24. I love it. I absolutely adore it. Both of these guitars have inspired me, and they have definitely taken my playing to the next level. So if you're a guitarist looking for an instrument that will inspire you and take your playing to the next level, then I would highly recommend checking out the PRS Custom 24. Give it a try. You know, go into a store, and if you can, try them out. Even if you're not going to buy one, they are so cool. I think you guys will fall in love with them as well. Trust me, it might just bewitch you as well, just like it did with me. Let me know in the comments below if you've had any experience with PRS guitars, or if there's another guitar that has captured your heart like the PRS Custom 24 has captured mine. Alrighty friends, I'm really excited to share this track with you. I think you'll see just how happy I was recording this track. And remember to like, subscribe, and share the video, and have an amazing day as well. I'll see you really soon with another video. In the meantime, enjoy the music.